So, a brief recap of my last video. It's wrong to add days to the calendar. It's wrong to add words to the Bible. What does Proverbs 30 verse 6 says? Add thou not unto his words, lest he reprove thee, and thou be found a liar. So, a good example of this is that nowhere in the Bible does it say that God made the moons for months. Matter of fact, if we go to this Jewish calendar here on this website for February 2022, we see how they added some days. In Adar 1, they start out on the February 1st. Let me show you that again. And then they move to March, and then they continue where they left off in February and start Adar 2, adding about 28, maybe 29 days to March. So we shouldn't have to do that. Nowhere in the scripture does it say to do that. What it does say is that Psalms 104 verse 19, the moon is appointed for seasons. And that's all it means. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knoweth his going down. So I already showed you in the last video that seasons is a time, a period that has to do with sowing, harvesting. And we have a growing season, we have a harvest season, we have a hunting season. And if you go to this website, these moons show you these particular seasons. I already addressed this in the last video. Certain times where you have animals birthing and crops growing. You have rainy seasons. We just recently had a super buck moon, and it marked the season that a male deer's antlers are maturing. And then finally, to recap, Brother Jedediah Malik's video presentation shows you that there's a mistranslation error in the text referring to the new moons. So before I begin part 2, let's do a better job in not bearing false witness to one another. If you don't agree or you think I'm wrong, just say that. Or if you can prove me wrong, then just do that. I mean, I'm a reasonable person. I will accept correction. But I have not seen sufficient evidence that we should be using a lunar cycle for months. But I can prove to you that the Lord hates your new moons and feast days in Isaiah chapter 1 verse 14. Notice how he says your new moons, your appointed feasts. It's not his day, it's your day. And this makes me believe that it's because you're using the moon to falsely create a day that's not his. And what does it say? I am weary to bear them, meaning that he's tolerating it, he's dealing with it, but he's getting tired of it. Then we have the book of Jubilees, which tells you that Israel is going to error because of the moon. And we have the book of Enoch that gives you a precise 364 days per year. And you can see that in Genesis that there is 150 days equals 5 30-day months each, not 29 lunar calendar days. And finally, we could, point 5, we could do the calculator. 364 days divided by a 7-day week equals a 52 weeks a year, making it a balanced calendar. Come now, let us reason together. In a previous video, I showed you how I corrected the Gregorian calendar, and you called me a deceiver. Which is the greater error? Me taking existing days and moving them in the correct month, or the false Jews fabricating additional days and adding them, making an unbalanced month at the end of the year? And what does Proverbs chapter 20 verse 23 state? Let's look at it in some different translations. Differing weights are detestable to the Lord. Diverse weights are an abomination to the Lord. The Lord detests differing weights. The Lord detests double standards. Unequal weights are an abomination. And let's look at the ESV. I think that's a pretty good one. Unequal weights are an abomination to the Lord, and false scales are not good. So I think it's clear to say that the nature of the God that we serve is he likes things to be balanced. He don't want things to be unequal or out of balance. So with that in mind, remember how this applies to the calendar. Now, what I'm going to do is show you that I'm not the one that's moving days. It is the Gregorian calendar who shifts the days, and I'm simply putting them back in their proper place. So let's look at this calendar here. January 1st is on a Sabbath. But then you go to 2023, January 1st is on the first day of the week, Sunday. And now let's look at March. Since we're dealing with March, and let's look at the 20th, how it's on a Sunday, the first day of the week. And also Tuesday is March 1st. But now we go to 2023, everything switched over a day. The first is Wednesday, and now the 20th is on a Monday. We could go further to 2024, which is a leap year. And let's look at March. We see how it went a whole 2 days over. So you can see that it's the Gregorian calendar that moves the days over. And it's doing it each year. So of course, when you try to overlay a fixed Enoch 364-day calendar on top of theirs, it appears that your Passover will fall in December, and that's like 80-some years in the future. And you'll think that you'll have to play catch up and create leap years so that you can balance out your calendar to match their error. But I'm going to explain in the next video that when you do that, you are still allowing their calendar to dictate to you when the spring begins. In the last part of this video, I will once again show you the additional day in the Gregorian 365-day calendar and how it is moving forward each year. But the Enoch 364-day calendar is fixed. And let me repeat that again, just in case I didn't make that clear. The additional day in the Gregorian 365-day calendar is moving forward each year. But the Enoch 364-day calendar is fixed, and it only appears to be moving backwards once it's placed on top of the Gregorian calendar. So I'm going to try my best to show that again and how I correct that, and then you'll see what's going on. But you have to get the mindset that the Gregorian calendar is not right, it is false.